Can you guys say hi?
Hi.
Hi! I just got back from wonderful, just refreshing, soulful Friday away. I drove up to Temecula, dropped the kids off with my mother-in-law, to take one of my best friends, Lauren, from college out for her birthday. We got pedicures and just had a wonderful, relaxing lunch where we just got to discuss life and marriage, and we just soaked up every ounce of the 3 hours that we had together, and that was so needed. I have had just such a long last week of busyness and going, and I've had just the most jam-packed agenda, with the smallest of things to the biggest of things to the most fun things to the most not so fun things of motherhood, like having sick kids. And these two girls were just had such a sad week, and last weekend Beckham was sick with the flu, non-stop responsibilities, and so I just wanted to talk a little bit, if I can, today about, if these girls will let me, just kind of the importance of slowing down. And it's funny because Travis and I, we have our arguments and our fair share of times of just contention and disagreements and whatnot, like any other couple might have. But this week he just left on Monday for work, upset with me, and we just hadn't been connecting on a lot of levels. And he's like, what else do you have on your agenda? Like, what else do you have going on this week that you need to let me know? Because you are like working to your full capacity, more words or less, basically. Just like I'm not putting him as a priority, our family, and he doesn't tell me that often, but when he does, he's pretty much always right. That just really stopped and got me thinking, and this week has been go, go, go. I feel like our lives go in seasons, and I have those seasons of my life where good, positive things that are happening, and I'm so quick to say yes to helping other people, make people come over, that I'm not saying yes to the things that really need to be saying yes to. And I recognize that after I have had a really impatient week where my kids are being normal for 1 and 7-month-old kids, and by the third time Beckham asks, what are we doing tomorrow? By the third time of me answering that or putting off his question, I just snap at him. I had that kind of week where I've had so much on my plate and I've been putting so many other things as a priority that I am not giving myself space to just be and rest and allow stillness in my life and times to kind of catch my breath. I had one of those weeks where I judge my performance based on the cleanliness of my house, where I judge my performance as a mom based on the level of healthy meals I'm giving my kids, on the level of their obedience. Like, are they listening to me? Are we having fun days together? No pushing. Stop, mommy's making a video. Amelie has had such a big week. We've had a lot of fun this week and a lot of just tough moments. So not only have I not been allowing myself time to recharge, like every spare minute I have, I am finding myself cleaning and just prepping dinner and focusing on the vlog, or doing something for somebody else, which is, again, all good things. And there are spaces, I think, in all of our days where we need to be doing that. But there are also times where we need to say no, and learning how to take a break from also the good things to focus on our family and ourselves, and allowing our souls and our hearts to be recharged and rest and hear from the Lord. This week was one of those weeks where I forgot to bring snacks for the second week in a row to Beckham's classroom, that I left the wet clothes in the laundry wash for like 3 days straight, where I just was so frazzled and finally crashed and burned. I was exhausted. And so the Lord has had such a sweet way of calling me to him and just saying, you need to stop, and you need to sit, and you need to rest, and you need to find your fulfillment in me. In those weeks and those days of frazzleness, they're also not lost. Like, God allows us to have those times, I believe, to just remind us that his grace is enough and his grace is sufficient. Our worth is not seen in the things here on this earth. And it's been kind of this like girl boss movement, and whether you relate it to girl boss in the industry, owning owning your own business, all this like this movement of like mompreneurs taking charge. And I mean, I like it. I buy into it, and I am like, yeah, I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I'm gonna kill it as being a stay-at-home mom. This like list in my head, sometimes mentally and sometimes physically. And if I don't conquer those things, which let's be honest, there are times that those things do not get conquered. This week was just one of those weeks where I just, as hard as I tried, I continued to fall short. Like my works were just not gonna be enough. And I think God was just like, just stop, just slow down and realize that you need me. Sometimes our own efforts aren't enough. And you guys have probably seen that poster gone around on Pinterest and Instagram. It was like, she believed she could, so she did. And while that mantra is so like, empowering and like, yeah, like whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Well, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes life and littles and other factors get in the way, like hard times and, you know, unexpected experiences in your life that bring you down. And sometimes like our works just aren't enough. Like trying is not enough. But what's so beautiful about God's grace is that He is enough, and that He says, don't find your worth and value in things of this earth. Like in the productivity of your day does not define like my love for you and how great of a person you are. And I follow this Instagram writer, Laura Casey, and she wrote this thing, and instead of she believed she could, so she did, she wrote she believed she couldn't, so God did. And I just like, that has like, I read that a few weeks ago, and that has continued to stick with me, because I just, especially this week, I was reminded of that saying, that in this world of like girl boss, like take charge of your own destiny, and my kids are like going crazy, take charge of just like who you are and who you want to be in this life, which so much, and there's so much truth to that. But at the same time, like there's something that is so beautiful and raw and real in that she believed she couldn't, so God did. And I just was forced into that place this week. Like I was forced into, okay, God, you're right. Like I went into my week saying I believed I could, so I'm gonna rock this. And at the end of this week, I'm like on my knees, like, God, I believe I can't, so you need to. Like I can't pick up the pieces from this week. This week was a little bit of a disaster. There were so many times this week that I had to apologize to my kids. Like I had to apologize to Beckham several times for losing my temper, disciplining him maybe when he needed a little bit more grace. For a lot of people that comes easy, but that's not necessarily easy for me, even with a 4-year-old, and it is especially not easy with my husband. And even with Travis this week, like I had to say, you know what, you're right, like I was wrong, and just own up to the mess that I can be sometimes. Like we're all human, all mistakes, and there's so much grace that can be found when you just openly admit, I'm sorry, this is where I went wrong, can you forgive me? And I had to do that this week with my husband and with my kids. Today I realized I had to do that with myself. I've been pushing too hard. I've been aiming to be this like perfectionist and super woman in all of the areas of my life. Super friend, super daughter, super mom, super like house cleaner, super encourager, and super servant. It's like all of those things are good, but they're not good when they're done out of an effort of trying on your own. They're done so much more beautifully when they're done out of an effort of responding to the Lord's movement. My encouragement to you that you would go into this week with your hands open and your heart wanting to move in response to God's calling and not your own. You might have a whole list of things you want to accomplish this week, but God might have other plans. He might want you to slow down and want you to hear from Him rather than just your glaring list in your head or on your notepad. And like God has His own agenda, and when we do it His way and kind of go at His pace, our weeks are just they're not striving like out of our own effort, but there is just an ease that comes to it in that sense. And so it's in weeks where God calls us to do and tackle a lot, and we do that and we get through it, but it's because He gives us His energy and his time and His like strength to get through the day, that week, that season. And there's other seasons He calls us to calmness, and even though we feel like I can handle all this, I can tackle more, give me more, I can like be the best, like yeah, you can be, but if that's not where like God has you in that season, then don't force it. Don't try to just like expend all of your own energy for the sake of yourself, because it's only gonna create more harm to those in your life that need you and need your full attention. Like this little one who just needs me right now, and I need to focus on them. So I've got to end it and say, hope you guys have a great week. Can you say, have a good week? Can you blow kisses? Just not my will, hands open, but your will, Lord. And I just really am praying that this week, for not only me, but for you, will be a week of, pray that He speaks like direction over your heart and life. And those are prayers for me, and those are my prayers for you. So thanks for watching, and I hope everyone has a very beautiful, heartfelt week, guys. Bye.